Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar, Aloevain, back for some more Dungeons & Dragons Online. Alright, so for this quest here, it brings us into the Lord's March Plaza. Now, there are several entrances into the Lord's March Plaza. You can access from the marketplace, from the harbor, and then from the 12 there. So the easiest way to get here from the teleporter, I find, is to head to the 12 and then come in that gate there. So the quest here is given by Naline Lasite, and this is a kind of a part of a quest chain. There's 3 parts to this chain. The first part being diplomatic impunity. Then we have another one, and then finally we're going to end off with Tolas here for the part 3. Things to know about this quest is if somebody is on a later part, you will need to do the earlier parts in order to get in, as it does kind of lock you out of that. Alright, so the quest itself is out here in the 12, all the way east here at the gate. And here we go. So it's a fairly quick, fairly straightforward quest, and there are a couple of kind of twists and turns that you can do throughout this. So the first thing you need to do once you get in here is you want to talk to Henrietta. Just let her know that, you know, everything's good and we're going to check everything out. So you want to make sure that your objective changes to meet the contact.
Along the ridge line, high above you, is a line of bamboo fencing. From this distance, it resembles descriptions of the primitive architecture used by various wildmen tribes.
Alright, so the next thing to point out is, if you'll notice around the plant here how it looks like dirt, you want to try and avoid them at all costs. So the typical way is to kind of hug the wall right here and just sneak past. Now the reason you want to avoid is anytime that you step on them, so at that plant, this one here, that plant, it's actually going to spawn in some scorpions. Now obviously you can stop to kill the scorpions, but it's just that many more enemies to fight when you don't necessarily have to. Alright, so we're going to continue down the wall, hugging that left side here to our door, and then we're going to head on through. Now here, again, there's going to be more of the dirt patches.
Through the brush
So,
ahead,
right there.
you hear a guttural voice
If you just stick to the road here, for the most part, you are fine. Alright. So there are a couple of methods for this. First method being just running past or invising past everybody. I personally like to stop to kill. Alright. Okay. So we're going to head up past our shrines. And once you go past, there's going to run into a lot of these jungle panthers. Now, just be aware, they do have a fairly high hide. So they can be a little difficult to spot beforehand. So just be careful and, you know, kind of watch your back. And you're going to want to keep proceeding.
The cavern ahead reeks of feline occupation. This must
all
be
the
where
way through
panthers
and
make
actually
their
head
den.
up. Though you can actually head into the panther's den here. And there are a couple extra panthers to kill. Just to pad those monsters' kill number, if that's what you're wanting to do. Now, one method is, again, to not kill very many enemies and essentially blitz to the very end. allowing you to get that the bonus for not killing a lot of enemies. Alright. So next thing to note here is at this location, sometimes you can actually find a rare panther. Essentially it's a rare albino panther that you can kill. Alright. So from here we can actually also head down. And I think we actually gotta head the other way. So we got to go one more room here. But there is an optional that you can actually hop down and get. Again, most people skip it. It's just kind of out of the way. And we would access that from here.
The jungle canopy gives way to a shrub-filled clearing. From the southwest comes the tang of salty sea air.
So once you get that notification, you would just kind of turn around and head north. And hop down here past these shrines into this section here.
Is another vine thrasher structure. This one adorned with a dead jungle panther.
And at this point, once you get here, you're gonna have a small little ambush.
Surge forward to protect their shrine.
And once you kill the ambush, it just awards you with a little extra XP. So again, not something that I bother with. There is also a chest here for us. So it's not something I typically bother with. You know, partly the low amount of XP and the fact that it's out of the way. To get out, we gotta head back to where we were. So we're gonna just break those two barricades. And that's where we were with the panthers here. Alright. So now that we're back here, instead of going that way, we actually want to follow this path right here, which will kind of lead off to the northwest, and it's going to lead up and around. Now it's going to lead all the way down here and just follow it all the way to the end. At this point,
perhaps it leads back towards Henrita's camp.
At this point, it will lead us to the contact we were sent to meet. But in order to talk to them, the whole party has to be gathered.
Soldiers and siege machines is disturbing, but it is possible they have arrived for you must warn Henrita of the danger to Stormreach. With luck, you can make it back to camp without encountering any Droam forces.
All right, so at that point, you can, as you can see, there's a giant army. Now, a lot of people like to use Dimension Door at this point. Personally, I don't see the value in that. It will teleport you, yes, to the beginning of the quest, which we do need to go to in order to warn Henrietta. However,
the armor and weapons of
at that point, we would have to run all the way from the beginning, all the way back around. Whereas from where we're at now, we can actually head this way, out this way, head to the Vine Thrasher village, in which case we're right near the start. So considering we gotta come right back past here, it saves you a lot of time in the long run. And as you notice, once we talk to the scout,
Another
it
Drow
has
scouting party has been destroyed.
added in a
By
whole
now,
bunch more
there must be
enemies
many parties of Droam
throughout
soldiers
the
spread throughout
area.
the jungle.
This will also spawn them in all the way along those paths as well. Essentially, if you detour, you just gotta go through and run past a lot more guys. And in the long run, it just takes longer. So I honestly don't understand why people do it. I mean, if you're with a group, having one person run ahead and use the dimension door.
Guarded by a solitary vine thrasher wildman. With any luck, the guard did not hear the fate of his compatriots.
But, I mean, again, it's not too hard to just run there. As you'll see, like right we're at the village, it's just a short distance north. As well, in the village, it has the rest of the breakables. So as you see, we're not even at our first tier.
Pond scum and fungi float along the top of this polluted
And throughout the whole thing, we're gonna get our full breakable bonus here inside this village. So just check the next to tents, inside some of them. And there we go. Now, once you've done that, the person you want to talk to here is the Vine Thrasher High Shaman. So when you talk to him, it does give you a couple of options. Now you can try to diplomacy your way through it, intimidate your way through it, or you can just talk. Now, depending on which options you choose, so I chose not to talk with anyone. He chose a trial by combat. If you use intimidation, then you end up having to fight the entirety of the village, so all these vine thrashers here. So it's a little different optional. And then if you use diplomacy, you get the optional to not, like, to talk through it and not have to fight anybody.
The spirits have spoken. Let no vine thrasher impede these outsiders.
For killing the village and defeating, killing the village or defeating their champion, it will give you the chest. However, if you talk and completely pacify and you don't fight anybody, you don't get loot either. Alright, so here's the exit that you want to take. It's kind of towards the southeastern section of the encampment. And here you're just going to want to head up and around. And right back to the start. Again, this will just make it easy to head back, especially if you don't happen to have Dimension Door, or you're not looking to run all the way around again. So at this point, you need to talk to Aloevain again until you get the next objective. Alright, so at this point, you can sneak around and just head right back up and go through the village. And we're going to want to exit the way we initially entered. And just head back down the path a little ways. So again, it's from here to here rather than here all the way up and around. So saves you a lot of time in the long run. Plus it gives you another optional. Or two in the case of fighting the trial by combat. Alright, so you're going to want to head all the way back until we reach this root wall here. In which case, again, it's another party lock where all party members need to gather near it. Now, as soon as that breaks, one method here is to cast invisibility on everybody. And simply just run right past these enemies here. Except that one never works. So that's one method. And it is probably one of the most common methods, simply because once you reach a specific point on the mountain, the point being almost all the way at the top, they actually all become pacified. Now, this is super handy, again, if you're trying to get that, you know, don't kill a lot of enemies bonus. Which, like I said, super handy to do. And gives you more experience, plus it is a lot faster, but it's also more dangerous having to run past these enemies, as you never know what you're going to fight and run into. And in the case of Reapers, if you are invisible, they auto see you, and then certain champions will also see you as well, as some of them do have true sight. Alright, so if we hadn't been running past, once we got up right about here, they'll shout out and you'll get some DM narration text.
From ahead, a rough voice
At this point, that's where they would become passive.
Stand down. The war captain wishes to parley with the intruders.
Now from here, you run around the corner, they're going to open up the door. And what you would do is you'd come up here, and this is where your fight is going to take place. Now, this fight itself is relatively easy, but there is a couple of tricks to it. Now, first and foremost, you do want to take out the trash first before dealing with the boss. Now, the boss has a couple of stages. Once he starts taking a little bit of damage, he's actually going to spawn in 4 traps, which come out of these little faces here. So 1, 2, 3, and then 1 on the other side, for a total of 4. Now, you can't actually disable them until he starts taking that damage. So if you want to get that full Ingenious bonus, you do need to lay off on fighting him until you get that. The other bit is, once he takes a fairly large amount of damage, he's going to actually open up the door, and all those enemies that were outside are going to rush in as a secondary wave. If you kill that secondary wave, again, before you kill the war captain, again, you get a bonus XP as well. So we're going to try for both those optionals and see how that goes. So once you talk to them, they're going to become active. So yeah, it's kill his guards first. So there he is, he's yelling to activate the traps. So there we are. Then you're going to want to come back and preferably not get stunned. And just kind of lay into him a little bit. So there he is, he's calling for his reinforcements. And there we go. So again, what you want to do is just kill off the guys who are coming in. killing them and getting that reinforcement one also gives you that extra chest right there. So it does have like a double purpose as well. And after that, it's simply just take him out. Super easy. Now, once he dies, so aside from this one, which drops from getting the enemies, or sorry, killing his guards, aside from this one, you actually get 3 loot chests. And can actually drop this named item there, Catcher's Wit. It is a fairly common named item, along with the Wand of Blasting there that Wolf had looted. And they can drop from any of these chests, so there's 3 chances. So there's the Wand of Blasting myself. And yeah, it's really, really common to get that Catcher's Wit and the Wand of Blasting. At that point, I mean, once you got it, awesome. And with the Catcher's Wit there, it's actually part of a set bonus, which is the Rathosaur Kell set. The other thing you can actually do, where it states Battle Scarred, is in the second part of this chain, you can actually get some sigils and purple seals and green seals and stuff like that, which can actually upgrade these items to a stronger tier of the same named item. And yeah, that's about it for this quest. We're going to recall, turn in, and then we'll hit up the next quest. Thank you guys so much for joining. I hope this was informative, and I will catch you guys later. Have a good one all.